Hey guys, what's up? This is Brett. I wanted to shoot a video here. I'm very excited. Unexpected video I'm making here. But first off, I want to do a VCLT thanks, and also I want to do a second part to my Friday in the Turntable from last week, which was excellent second album. So let's just start it off here with the VCLT. I received a package yesterday evening from Paul. Paul is a VC member. He's active on the Facebook page. I don't believe, Paul, you make videos. From my knowledge, you don't, but you really should, because you're always posting pictures of all these amazing finds you're getting at Goodwill and half-price books and all this just serious stuff. And I know you're a multi-format collector, and we have a lot of similar tastes in music. So definitely think about posting some videos here in the near future. If not, love seeing all the photos, and extremely excited with the package that you sent me. You represented 3 different formats here, which was also really cool. So the first thing I want to show, so super excited to have this now on cassette. It's one of my vinyl grails, one of my actual favorite albums of all time, and that is James Laid, and this is on cassette. Popped this in just immediately last night. Sounded killer, so thank you for that. Much welcome addition to the collection. Ministry 12-inch singles on cassette. Never seen this on cassette. I've only seen the CD and vinyl of it. So also very cool to get that. Matthew Sweet's Girlfriend on cassette. Also excellent, great album. Very cool to have that one. And Everything But the Girls, The Language of Life on cassette. John Staffsow will appreciate seeing that in my collection, as well as the vinyl that Paul sent me, which is Everything But the Girl. It's a self-titled. I had to do some research on this. I immediately just assumed it was their first album from just being self-titled. But what it is it's their first US release, which combines 6 tracks from their first UK album, along with some singles and I think some alternate versions of songs. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm really looking forward to it. And I love the artwork on that, which is music stands and folding chairs and mic cables and mic stands and stuff. I'll zoom in on that. Really a cool cover, and it is actually a gold stamp promo on that as well. And there's the back cover. Paul did an excellent job of packaging everything up. Each cassette was wrapped in bubble wrap, and it was just all perfectly put together. And the last thing I want to show, I had to do some research on this because I didn't immediately recognize what it was. Of course, I know the band, but I didn't know actually what this release was, because it's sealed, and it's a CD of Husker Du. It's 3 live recordings from 1982 and 83. And it's on Reflex Records. There's only 3 tracks on it. Like I said, it's still sealed. And it's called Husker Du Live featuring JC. And apparently JC was a guy named John Clegg, who was a sax player, I believe, who used to come and play live with them. That's all I know of him. I'm sure people from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Paul, can fill me in on more details on John Clegg. But he passed away on February 18th, 2008. And this was released as a tribute to him. So very cool, and it's limited edition, only 500 copies. So Paul, I'm very excited you sent me that. I'm really looking forward to listening to all this stuff. Like I said, the James cassette was immediately in my player. After I finish filming, I'm going to pop on that Everything But the Girl record. So thanks again, Paul. Just another great example of just generosity here in the vinyl community. So Paul, I will start getting my wheels turned here of how I can repay you with some music here in the near future. So thanks again. Okay, now the second part of the video, I didn't really have any intention of filming a sequel to this. Sorry, let me just grab all this stuff here. But with all the cool videos that were popping up in response, I had no choice but to jump in here with a second one. So my video from last Friday was excellent second albums, or no sophomore slump on these albums. And I've received 2 videos from Derek, which really, the one that he posted this morning really inspired this second post. And Shannon Light Breeze 55 did an excellent one. Metal Vinyl 89, Brandon Mr. Hall of Fame, Gary Elbow Sausage. I hope I didn't leave anyone off of that. But I'm looking forward to seeing more of those. I have a feeling there's going to be some more popping up here in the immediate future here. So what I did with this one, my first one, I really wanted to limit myself to 10, and I wanted to just show vinyl. But as I was going through and seeing other people's posts, I realized that that I left off some gems, and unfortunately, even as I was going through these, I still left out some gems. But I pulled out some CDs because these ones were not released on vinyl, or they were ones that are just way too expensive to acquire, or I just didn't ever buy it. So let's just get started with this. Here, I got a nice little hefty stack. First off, I was really surprised. I don't know if no one just doesn't want to show this one or what, but Nirvana's Nevermind second album, excellent. Come on, guys, that's an excellent second sophomore album. Really surprised no one showed that because, you know, people, because of its popularity or whatever, but seriously, an excellent release from Nirvana. This next one is from a band we were label mates on Project Records. And they were initially signed to, was it RCA in the late 80s? And they put out their first album, which was called Feel, but then I think they got dropped by the record label, and then they got signed to XXX Records, which they put out this album, The World Inside, and this is Human Drama. Johnny and Davina, I've known him for a very long time. We've played together, and this is The World Inside, and it's a really good... I'm trying to describe what it would be a common ground for it, but it's... you just have to listen to it. Really good, really good. Human Drama, The World Inside. Next one, I would love to have this one on vinyl. Great album, it's Placebo's Without You I'm Nothing, their second release. Pure Morning was the single on this one, as well as Every You, Every Me was another track. Without You I'm Nothing, the title track, excellent. And there's a great duet of them doing that with David Bowie, which you can probably find here on the YouTube. Another track on here, My Sweet Prince, excellent track. So Placebo, Without You I'm Nothing. This next one, I know it's been reissued on vinyl, but I just don't want to get it. That's Mazzy Stars, So Tonight That I Might See. Excellent release. Another one, love to have this one on vinyl, and that's Suede's Dogman Star. Great album. Their second one, which also was the last one to feature Burner Butler. Have to give a shout out here to my own band, Audra. Going to the Theater, our second album. Occasionally, I will I pull this one out just to listen to it, and still sounds great. And this one actually is a German copy, a Nova. I think that was our German distributor, Nova Media. All right. So other second albums. Now the rest is going to be all vinyl. This next band put out their first album, and I believe it was 1982, called Only Theater of Pain. After that album, the whole band, the other three guys in the band, quit the band, and the whole ensemble reformed with all new members except for the original singer, who was Roz Williams. Jatan Damone joined in on keyboards, Valor on guitar, David Glass on drums, and then Constance was the bass player, who I don't believe was really an official member. But this is Catastrophe Ballet, and this is actually my favorite Christian Death album. It is very dreamy, atmospheric, and whereas the first album was a bit more punk influenced, death rock, this was just very esoteric and ethereal, and really doesn't get enough praise for what it is, and it is a phenomenal second album. I'll just show you quickly my copy of this one, because it does have a book that comes with it, which has the lyrics and stuff. I won't get into too detail with that, but excellent release. Catastrophe Ballet. Here's another one that I don't expect to see on anyone else's video, and this is a band called Shelley and Orphan. This is Century Flower, which came out on Rough Trade. This is a gold stamp promo, so most of you may be wondering who is Shelley and Orphan. A band kind of what we would possibly consider like Baroque pop, like not your typical music, rock-based by any means. More orchestral instruments, oboe, strings. Carolyn Crawley was the singer. She also appeared in This Mortal Coil, and I believe she was married to The Cure's drummer Boris Williams. So this was their second album. Their first one is called Hillyborn, or Helleborn. Not sure how to pronounce that one. But really, the first song I ever heard, a friend played it, was Century Flower, the title track. Just blew me away. Her voice is just phenomenal. Silent Day, another great track. The only downside of this album, I feel, is the male vocals, which doesn't appear on everything, but there are a few tracks, and those ones are just not by any means my favorite. But all the songs that she sings are just great. Great voice. Chilean Orphan, Century Flower. Gary Numan, Two Boy Army. I had this up in my last video there as a little tribute because I didn't fit it in the 10. But this is the second Gary Numan album, or Two Boy Army. After that, he was just known as Gary Numan, and some copies will even say Gary Numan and Two Boy Army. Replicas, seriously, Me, I Disconnect From You, Our Friends Electric, Down in the Park, killer. And how about this one? Haven't seen anyone show this one yet. Her first album was very acoustic folk music, very beautiful, excellent album called Chelsea Girl, and then she followed it up with this dark, excellent work called The Marble Index. This is Nico from the Velvet Underground, and she went on to have a solo career of very, what I would consider very dark experimental music. This one is mostly features her on harmonium, and John Cale produced it, arranged the songs. And it's just really an excellent piece of work. Very unsettling, not just your typical daily pop this in, you're hanging out. It's music that requires active listening, and it's very intense. This next one I didn't include in my first video, which it should have been the first one I showed, because I always struggle with finding a common ground of how people are labeling this. Was it their second album? Was it their first album? For me, it's always been their second album, because their first album was a live album, but it's always been their debut to me. So if you see this as their first album, that's okay. If you see it as their second album, then we're okay too. And this is Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking. Phenomenal release. Followed, if you want to call Ritual de la Habitual their second album, good, I brought that one out as well too, because that's incredible also, and that's on the list. My vinyl's in a frame on the wall, and I didn't feel like disassembling that. So Jane's Addiction, whether you want to say Nothing Shocking or Ritual de la Habitual as their second album, I'm cool with both because they're both great. U2's October, an excellent follow-up to Boy. How about New Order's Power, Corruption, and Lies? Their first one, Movement, was their, right after Joy Division, after Ian Curtis died, they put out Movement. A couple years later, 1983, they put out Power, Corruption, and Lies. Excellent release. This is another one I should have shown. Space Oddity, David Bowie. This is the little bit of later repress, because he did not look like this when this was released in 1969. So they capitalized on his Ziggy Stardust success here and reissued it with a different cover. But I think it was called either David Bowie, Man of Words, Man of Music. But it is his second album. The self-titled one came out in '67, which is a very quirky record, which I totally love, and I always end up pulling it out around Christmas time because it's around the time that I first got it. So that's David Bowie's Space Oddity. REM's Reckoning. I have a hard time always choosing which is my favorite REM album, Murmur or Reckoning. Second album, they did just an incredible follow-up. Album I've talked about before, Big Stars Radio City. Second album, the second album, which didn't feature Chris Bell on it because he left after #1 record, but excellent release. Just got a couple more to show, and then we'll wrap this up. I didn't show this one either. Bauhaus's Mask. I mean, what a follow-up to In the Flat Field. This came out in '81. Gatefold here. Great album. And then to separate Bauhaus into the groups that formed out of it, we had Love and Rockets, which was the other three guys, Daniel Ash, David J., Kevin Haskins. Their band, Love and Rockets' second album, Express, which also deserves to be mentioned. And then the singer of Bauhaus, Peter Murphy, his second solo album, Love Hysteria, which featured All Night Long, Dragnet Drag, Indigo Eyes, Socrates the Python, which is just epic. My Last 2 Weeks, a cover of Iggy Pop's Fun Time, and Time Has Got Nothing to Do with It, which are all excellent tracks. I left a lot of stuff off there. I mean, obviously, Iggy and the Stooges, Funhouse, Iggy Pop's Lust for Life. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Concrete Blonde's Free, great second album. Tons and tons of stuff. So if you guys haven't contributed a video response to this excellent second albums thread, by all means do it. Show me some other albums that are that you find are just great sophomore records. So anyways, thanks a lot. Thanks again, Paul, for the beautiful gifts. Really will cherish those. So you guys have a good day. Bye.